Hey everybody, well, it's finally done. Ray Bobbitt's pulled it off. As of now, the Oakland-Alameda County Coliseum Complex is not owned by the Oakland-Alameda County Coliseum Complex organization. It is owned by the African American Sports Entertainment Group slash Oakland Acquisition Company. And it ends a period that started in 2015 in May when Alameda County Supervisor Nate Miley, in a fit of pique during a meeting between the National Football League, the City of Oakland, and the County of Alameda, didn't like that there was constant stern and drum between the city and the county regarding the effort to retain the Raiders, and basically said that he wanted to divorce from the County of Alameda and have the City of Oakland go it alone on its own and get the county out of what he called the sports business. And that effort, put out in a hasty press release, led to a great deal of controversy because at the time, the city's financial presentation was contingent upon the availability of the County of Alameda as a bond issue backstop. That is, if however the bonds were designed to be, if they were let, that is, issued for purchase, and not enough revenue came in to pay the bond debt, then the full faith and credit of the County of Alameda, as well as the City of Oakland, yet again, would be the cash spill in the way they were thinking about the bond issue initially. And so that really sent the project into a tailspin at the wrong time. It sent the wrong message to the National Football League, like that, well, Oakland couldn't get its act together. The developer, Floyd Kephart, that same year was fired by Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf because it was found that Mr. Kephart planned to use the $400 million of public money he was asking for as part of the effort to build a stadium to retain the Raiders. He was going to use $200 million to buy a piece of the Oakland Raiders. Mark Davis was selling the Raiders a portion of the team, 10% of it, for an undisclosed price, but Floyd let it slip that he was interested in owning a portion of the Raiders and was talking to Mark Davis about doing just that. I went to the mayor, Mayor Schaaf, and I informed her that that was an illegal use of public funds and she should stop it immediately. Libby went the next step. She fired Kephart. Then, through an interesting series that develops it, that really calls for its own separate segment, Ronnie Lott emerged with what I call the USC group. Marcus Allen, in particular, and Rodney Peete, who formed their development group. They had never developed a stadium before. They were expected to really do the job in Oakland. They partnered with organization that featured not Forest City. I keep saying Forest City, but it's they partnered with the investment banking organization located both in New York and San Francisco, and ran by its managing partner on the West Coast, Drew McKnight, to form a purchasing package that and a financing package that ostensibly was to lead to a stadium for the Raiders, replacing the Oakland-Alameda County Coliseum Stadium. That deal boiled down to the city trying to match the $750 million proposed subsidy by Clark County with the approval of the Nevada legislature, and they couldn't do it. And they kept switching proposals, and at the very last second came through with a proposal which said essentially, hey, we can come up with a $750 million bond issue, but it was too late, too little too late. So out of that came a ragtag group of Oakland Raiders fans, some with booster clubs like the late Raider Mort, others like the late Greg Jones or Godfather Grizz, and others like myself, and then of course Ray Bobbitt and Breen Dixon and others. Out of that was formed something called that Ray produced called the African American Sports Entertainment Group, and Ray Bobbitt used $40,000 of his own money to hire antitrust lawyer James Quinn to sue the Raiders and the National Football League in an effort to stop the plans to relocate the Raiders from Oakland to Las Vegas. Unlike the other two cities, which in the case of St. Louis, they won their lawsuit. And even though the Rams relocated from St. Louis to Los Angeles, the city of St. Louis emerged from that court battle $760 million richer. And for its part, San Diego to this day has not mounted a lawsuit of any kind. And no one really, they've tried to propose different types of replacements for their lost football facilities and football team, the Chargers, to Los Angeles, but nothing to this date has come to fruition. Meanwhile, Ray Bobbitt's initial push was to get the NFL back to Oakland. But when it seemed that it was going to be an uphill battle, he then turned his sights toward bringing a WNBA team to Oakland, and was, by my observation of the entire matter, was essentially played by the NBA, who had the entire time Joe Lacob as the focus of any NBA related relocation or new new franchise establishment efforts related to professional basketball in the NBA in the Bay Area. So when the idea for what became the Golden State Valkyries was formed and they announced the initial press conference, they left Ray Bobbitt, I think, very unfairly and very sadly out of the picture. Undeterred, Ray continued on his quest, built a tremendous community effort in Oakland, received the partnership of Oakland Mayor Shang Tao after having what I would describe as a kind of a lukewarm partnership with Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf. But Mayor Tao was really all in for the project, and also came up with an idea that if or when the Coliseum was sold to AASEG and its partner, the billionaire organization Loop Capital out of Chicago, that they would use part of those proceeds, the city would collect part of those proceeds and use that to basically close its bond, its deficit. So that in of itself became very controversial, and or the more so controversial because there were so many legal entanglements that had to be untied with such an unusual proposal, that the money the city believed was going to come a year ago plus did not arrive. And now that's a part of history because the sale is done, and now the transfers of money can commence along a new that process. The Coliseum sale will not be entirely complete until where Ray Bobbitt and company can begin truly developing on their land, until the bonds are defeased, that is completely paid off, and that is slated to occur February of 2026. The last day of February of 2026, which is next year. And so Um, Ray, during that period of time that has transpired from last year to this year, Ray has been meeting with representatives from Loop Capital and others and discussing different plans, like possibly tearing down certain facilities and building new ones in their place. Nothing finalized as yet. There's still a long way to go, but they have been playing the long game in terms of in the understanding that they're going to have control of 111 acres of property. In announcing the completion of the sale, former Oakland Councilmember, now Alameda County Board of Supervisors member, Nikki Fortunato Bass, issued this statement at its meeting on Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025. The Oakland-Alameda County Board of Supervisors voted to finalize the deal to sell the Oakland-Alameda County Coliseum to the Oakland Acquisition Company, LLC, OAC. OAC is actually the group that essentially took over or took up where AASEG left off. Approval of these agreements bolsters the City of Oakland's efforts to pursue robust economic development at the Coliseum property. This vote is a major milestone in the complicated and lengthy process to sell the Coliseum complex to one organization with the experience and expertise to redevelop and revitalize the property for the benefit of Oaklanders and residents of Alameda County. Now, the parties will work towards closing the deal and transferring ownership to OAC by June 30th of next year, June 30th, 2026, concurrently with the City of Oakland's timeline. Supervisor Nikki Fortunato Bass said, getting this far in such a complex deal has been a community-wide effort and a testament to the resilience and persistence that makes Oakland so special. I look forward to a transformative project in collaboration with OAC and the community to revitalize the Coliseum for Oakland and the entire East Bay. As the former Oakland City Council president, I added language to the June 2024 ordinance that ensures the sale of the land include deed restrictions requiring at least 25% affordable housing for low-income households and a community benefits agreement to address labor standards, small local business contracting, workforce and living wages, sustainable green development, and more. As a new Alameda County Supervisor in January 2025, I proposed and the board approved a term sheet that provided a policy statement and direction for assigning the county's 50% interest in the property, the Coliseum property, from Coliseum Way Partners, that's actually owned by John Fisher, who owns the Oakland Athletics, to the Oakland Acquisition Company. The board's approval today paves the way for the Oakland Acquisition Company to gain 100% control of the property and pursue economic development with the City of Oakland and the broader community. This is an important opportunity for deep investment in East Oakland to create long-lasting regional community benefits, including good local jobs, affordable housing, green infrastructure, and a stronger tax base. The County of Alameda has owned a 50% interest in the Oakland-Alameda County Coliseum, located at 7000 Coliseum Way, Oakland, California. The Coliseum is approximately 112 acres in size and consists of an arena, a stadium, and other improvements. The vote on Tuesday to assign the county's agreement with Coliseum Way Partners to the Oakland Acquisition Company facilitates key objectives of the county. Specifically, it will divest the county from any role in operating a sports and entertainment facility and allow the county to refocus resources on its core mission and vest ownership in a single entity. And that is by Nikki Fortunato Bass. I talked to Ray Bobbitt just about 2 hours ago now or so. I'm going to give him a call and see if he wants to make a comment. It's 8:42, but he undoubtedly is in the mode of celebrating. Let's see what we can get a hold of. So. And then I'll have a comment from Oakland City Councilmember Janity Ramakandran on the need to get the sale done. And okay, I'm getting his voicemail, and I'll text him after that. And so, very long. Hey Ray, this is Zinni. I'm on live, trying to get your comments, and we'll talk to you later or soon. Give me a call, 510-517-7565. All right, so that's Ray Bobbitt. And I had the pleasure of interviewing Oakland Councilmember Janity Ramakandran, Ramachandran. I keep making that mistake. It's Ramachandran. But in this portion of our interview, she talked about the importance of the city overcoming the habit of finding one-time ways to close its deficit, and pointed to the importance of the AASEG deal in going on the road toward a better and more stable financial future. Here is Councilmember Ramakandran, from Monday. One thing, folks, I realized I'm going to reset this because the volume here, I have to reset it to turn off echo cancellation. So that's off. I'm going to go back and restart that segment from what she said here, right about there. Put this on closed caption. Yeah, right here. Okay, so it's where she said we have to get over. So I'll move that back just a little bit more. Here, right here. There we go. What to know about
financial stability for the city. We have to get over not repeating mistakes in the past of relying on one-time money to fund recurring expenses. This is not a new thing. It's not just, it's been happening over the last many years. That has to stop. And, we tried very hard to put together and pass a responsible budget, which, everyone's going to be mad at some cut here and there as we expected, because we have to close a $270 million deficit. But a sense of responsibility about how we're using these funds moving forward. Hopefully with the closure of the Coliseum deal, that money can be used towards structural improvements. We have a number of one-time expenses as well. So hopefully we can use most of it towards that.
Got to ask you real quick regarding the AASEG college deal. Are you satisfied with the progress of it? And also, someone said that one of the budget meetings, someone claimed that there were still partner arguments or something like that, which I thought were resolved a couple of years ago. What say you?
I don't know the details of the negotiation, but my firm belief remains the same, that I voted for the sale of the Coliseum to AASEG, and I stand by that. And I think they're the right group to lead it, and that they have a very pioneering vision for what that whole Coliseum complex can be for the city of Oakland and beyond, as an economic engine, as a driver, as a way to uplift our Black and Brown residents of East Oakland. I mean, I think they have a really wonderful vision, and I stand by my support for it. What I was always opposed to was tying that sale to our budget. This is a long, complicated, and nuanced deal that's going to take time, like any land sale deal. To say last year that we're just going to speed rush this forward and try to close it for deadlines to supposedly meet our budget deadlines was always ridiculous. And
I got to ask you, why is it so necessary to cancel out the JPA rather than leaving it as a liaison between government and AASEG and its organizations? I don't get it.
I'm not on the JPA. I can't speak deeply to that, but I think that there's a good pathway to closing this deal, and the defeasement of the bonds and all will help clear the path for the sale to hopefully be completed soon. I'm hopeful. Again, it should have never been tied to the budget, which is what led to so many disastrous cuts, us entering the contingency budget, cutting contracts, closing fire stations, all of that. And, even though I wasn't part of that decision, unfortunately, I wasn't able to sway colleagues at the time. But I think all of those who voted for it learned their lesson to realize you can't do that anymore. And, if that ever comes up again, I'll say I told you so last time, and you shouldn't make that mistake again. So I'm hoping that this new era of Oakland leadership, and it really is a new era. So far, a majority of us have been very, on the general pathway of being fiscally responsible, including, a majority of these new council members as well. People have learned from mistakes of the past and want to do better for our residents, because if we keep coming year after year with headlines of Oakland's biggest deficit, this and that, we're going to continue to be a laughing stock, and we're never going to get out of this hole, which means we have to make tough choices. And that started now. That started with this budget.
Okay, so I'll stop it right there. And so as you heard her, also, this sale is done. This sale is done, but it will not be considered complete, so that the city can get its money until, another year. And that's because of the whole bond defeasance issue. In other words, what that means, again, is that there are bonds associated with the Warriors and the Raiders that are not entirely finished being paid for. And that will occur February of next year. And it is believed that, here's the other issue, the Coliseum will turn over to AASEG, Oakland Acquisition Company, but as it looks right now, there will not be a Oakland-Alameda County Coliseum Joint Powers Authority. There is debate about that, stemming from my observation, that there needs to be a government liaison organization that keeps constant watch on what AASEG is doing, if only to make absolutely certain that it follows the agreements that have been established, as opposed to assuming that economic development is going to have an extra staffer to do so, which I think is a bad assumption, especially since right now there's no budget for it. So and having that in existence to be immediately at the ready to smooth out any kinks in the process moving forward past the date of ownership turnover, which is June of 2026. There's been, in my view, a rush to really, in particular, on the part of the county of Alameda in particular, to get rid of this. And as Nate Miley and Keith Carson, who since retired, put it, get out of the sports business. As I've reminded both of them, they were never in the sports business to begin with. They were in the facilities business. They operated operate and control the Coliseum, stadium, and the arena, which can be used for a variety of different types of events, from weddings and bar mitzvahs to birthday parties to a cricket tournament to indoor golf, whatever it is you can think of that you can have in it. So really, they're operating facilities. They're not in the sports business where they actually own all of or a piece of a sports organization. And that has seemingly been lost on the Oakland-Alameda County Coliseum Joint Powers Authority Board, from my perspective, in trying to get them to see that the organization should survive beyond the sale period. Now, the other question that is out there that a number of people may be wondering what is the answer to is, just what will Ray Bobbitt and Company put down there, and will it be Ray Bobbitt and Company or another organization? What will happen? And that is a good question. It should be explained that, as I understand it, Loop Capital will be the actual owner and operator of the facility. AASEG will have its partnership role, but since Loop Capital is putting up the monies to get the project started and developed, and there's been no conversation about, at this point, inviting in a developer partner, Loop Capital has the say over Ray Bobbitt, from what I understand, regarding how the facility will be developed. And so that's another reason why it's a good idea for the Oakland-Alameda County Coliseum Joint Powers Authority to stay alive, so that it can make absolutely certain that the roadmap that was put out by others like Nikki Fortunato Bass and other Oakland council members and the mayors, particularly Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf in particular, is followed. And as opposed to taking off in another direction without the knowledge of the city and the county, because there was no organizational connection where they were privy to complicated developments and twists and turns in the approach for this reason or that. But right now, Loop Capital is about a year from basically holding the goods. Will they? Here's another possibility. Will they just sell the entire property outright? And if so, to who? Will it be the National Football League? In some type of effort to bring sports back, bring the NFL back to Oakland? Will it be to another developer that's a partner that wants to bring both the Major League Baseball and the NFL back? And how about an NBA expansion team? But let's take that. Right now, the City of Oakland has no proposal to bring basketball back to Oakland. And so you would say, wait a minute, we've always been a one-team region. But the Bay Area has enough people in it to hold two basketball teams. It has had enough people in it, and it does now, to have 2 football organizations. And of course, for decades, we've had the Athletics and the Giants in some famous cross-bay battles, among other things. So how that will play out in the near future isn't concretely known. What is known is that Ray Bobbitt, AASEG, and some of the members of the Alameda County Board of Supervisors have been in meetings discussing just what will go at the Coliseum. This will go there, and I have a mock-up I'm looking for here or a model of what the AASEG plans will look like, or could look like in a model form, and I'm going through YouTube to locate as I explain what's happening. So the other question is, what kind of timetable are they on? And as much as some would like for it to be a fast timetable, it has not been. The timetable is, for all practical purposes, been a little piecemeal. But as Nikki Fortunato Bass pointed out in her press release, Oakland Resilience has kept it going to where it is today. And it's, yeah, and again, Ray Bobbitt is to be congratulated for his work, and in particular his focus, and his stay the course mentality through a lot of bumps, choppy waters, unusual personalities and reactions, and normal, or I should say, in some cases, abnormal, some would say BS, that was thrown at the project and at him. He managed to correct some of his own errors through it. I should say some, I should say all of them. And I'm really quite impressed with what he's done. He's saved Oakland's future for the possibility of sports returning to Oakland. It is a giant landmass to have control over, and I might add that his is the only African American led organization to have control over such a property in the United States right now, and I believe in the history of the country. I don't know of another time that a black owned and led group has been able to say that it was the landlord for a facility that could indeed host, yet again, 3 major sports teams at once. So this is a big deal in a number of ways, and Way elected to go a strategy. I remember we talked about this a long time ago, and I said, do you think it's a good idea? I said, I'm not sure it's a good idea to call it African American Sports Entertainment Group, because it'll just start all of that, fire about, black group being involved in all the racism. But Ray insisted on this approach. He insisted on an approach that that said, yes, we are African American, yes, we are the Sports Entertainment Group, and we're going to move forward. He has since changed the name to Oakland Acquisition Company, which is kind of a nod to what I was saying before, although I and others are still going to refer to it as the African American Sports Entertainment Group. But in reality, AASEG as a name used no longer exists, and it is Oakland Acquisition Corporation. So it does have a new name. There's been talk of organizations like BART and AC Transit having facilities there. That was Rebecca Kaplan when she was Oakland Councilmember's idea. She's since retired, and I don't know that she's involved in this in any way other than as a spectator. And so of course, there is the current tenants, like specifically the Roots, which play in the Coliseum Stadium as well they should. And of course, Oakland Roots, of course, are the soccer team, and the Oakland Ballers, although they play baseball in West Oakland, could be, I think, convinced to play an occasional game at the Coliseum, just for the purpose of having a bigger facility to attract a larger audience, just to show people what's possible in terms of what the Ballers could draw, from baseball, draw in terms of a crowd, So there are a number of possibilities there that exist to be explored. But again, the question is, how long will it take? Will it be 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? I think it could be done in 6 years myself. But again, that model, as much as I know about what they've done to this date, is not one that's considered. Right now, they're looking at something more 20 years, almost a generation. And we'll have to see if they have the stomach to advance things and move forward. I'm going to try to call. There's one person. There have been a number of people who have been children to this. I should say fathers to this child, and one of them is well, I was thinking of Chris Dobbins, so I don't know if he's available. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right. And so, one moment, please. So, folks, I've got a personal matter I'm going to tend to, and I'm going to. Hold on a second. Just making sure my mom gets her meds, folks. So I will start a new live stream right after I'm done with that. So, all right, subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube here and bookmark ZennyReport.com and Oakland News Online.